Hey guys, are you thinking about moving to Boca Raton? Before you pack up the U-Haul or book that one-way ticket to paradise, you need to watch this video because today we're breaking down the real pros and cons of living in Boca Raton, Florida. The sunshine, the lifestyle, the brunches, but also the humidity, the price tag, and yes, the traffic when the snowbirds roll in. And if you watch until the end, there's a bonus section of other things that could be either a pro or a con depending on how you look at it. Now look, some of these might not be earth-shattering. A few are pretty obvious, especially if you've been to Boca before or if you've done a little bit of Googling, but others might just surprise you. Either way, I'm pointing them all out so you can get the full picture, the good, the bad, and the bougie. Now, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We drop videos like this every week to help you make smart, confident moves around South Florida. I'm Jonathan, and my team and I help people buy and sell homes across South Florida every single day. But here's the thing, we're not just realtors, we're matchmakers. We're here to help you find more than just a house. We'll help you find the right lifestyle, neighborhood, and the vibe for you. So whether you're thinking about making a move in the next few weeks or just starting your research, we've got your back. Go ahead and call, text, email, DM, whatever is easiest. And don't forget to grab our free South Florida relocation guide. It's loaded with useful info on schools, neighborhoods, cost of living, and more. Links in the description below. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the pros. Let's go. Let's start with the obvious. The beach life in Boca Raton is elite. We're talking some of the most beautiful beaches in the entire state of Florida. Clean, quiet, and seriously well maintained. And the best part, they're not packed like the beaches in Fort Lauderdale or Deerfield Beach. Boca beaches are way more relaxed and low-key, and that's not by accident. The city actually works to keep them reserved for Boca Raton residents as much as possible. It's not a private beach, but it definitely feels more exclusive. Now, if you live within Boca city limits, which stretches out to about the turnpike, you can get a resident beach parking permit. It's $75 a year, and it gives you access to Spanish River Park, Red Reef Park, and South Beach Park. You basically get VIP beach access for what breaks down to a few bucks a month. But if you live out west in unincorporated Palm Beach County, commonly known as West Boca, your driver's license will still say Boca Raton, but you're technically not in the city limits. So in that case, you'll only qualify for a permit at South Beach Park, not the other two. Now, if you're in the mood for something with a little more energy, say people watching, bars, or a livelier scene, just hop down to Deerfield Beach. The pier area is less than 10 minutes down A1A and has public parking garage and beachside restaurants. You can also head further down to Pompano Beach or Fort Lauderdale, but just know that you're trading in peaceful vibes for a busier, louder beach day. That's the beauty of Boca. You've got options. If you want a peaceful morning walk by the water or just zone out under a palm tree without a DJ booth nearby, Boca's beaches are it. But if you want a little more action, that's just a short drive away. Either way, you've got sand, sun, and year-round access to that beach life that people fly from all over the country to get a taste of. And for locals, it's just another Tuesday. Next up, Boca is clean and safe, like suspiciously clean and safe. You ever drive through a city and think, why is there not a single gum wrapper, pothole, or sketchy parking lot in sight? Yeah, that's Boca. Now listen, no place is perfect, but Boca consistently ranks as one of the safest cities in Florida, especially compared to other parts of South Florida. You're not gonna be side-eyeing every stranger at the gas pump or double locking your car at Whole Foods. It's just not that kind of place. And it's not just safe, it's pristine. The landscaping is immaculate, the streets are well kept, and even the sidewalks look like someone power washed them yesterday. The bushes are trimmed, the medians are manicured, and even the palm trees look like they've had a spa day. You could tell the city put serious money into keeping things looking sharp. It makes sense though. When you've got multi-million-dollar homes and high-end communities, the city and the residents both invest in maintaining that upscale feel. Even the public parks, playgrounds, and walking trails are spotless. This is one of the reasons families, retirees, and out-of-staters love Boca. It's the kind of place where you feel comfortable going for a run at night, pushing a stroller through the park, or letting your kid ride their bike without hovering like a helicopter parent. You get that small town peace of mind with big city amenities. That's a hard combo to find. So if safety and that ultra kept up look are high on your list, Boca's gonna check that box hard. All right, let's talk about one of the biggest reasons people fall in love with Boca, the dining and shopping scene. Boca just crushes it when it comes to food. period. No matter what you're craving, this city delivers. You want options? Boca's got options for your options. Let's start with food because honestly, Boca's culinary game is next level. If you want a cozy little French bakery, there's more than one. Actually, there's several. Croissant for days. And if you're in the mood for a steakhouse, you're not limited to just one. There are like 6 or more legit steakhouses here, and that's just the ones everyone's talking about. Whether you're into modern fine dining vibes or old school meat and potato style, you've got choices. Same goes for Italian. You've got modern, upscale Italian spots with sleek decor and fancy plating, and you've got the old school red sauce joints where you walk in and someone's grandma is probably still stirring the sauce. Both are solid and both will leave you in a food coma. Vegan? Yep. Boca's got you. Tons of plant-based spots, juice bars, and healthy cafes that taste way better than they have any business tasting. And if you're craving something with spice, Indian food is covered too. Check out Arun's Indian Kitchen or Staj, which just opened. Both are getting rave reviews and absolutely bringing the flavor. And how about Mexican food? You've got to try El Camino, especially the new one at Restaurant Row. You got great vibes, great food, and yes, great margaritas. And if you want something truly unique, go check out Takio Makasi. It's one of those hidden gem, is this even in Boca? Kinds of spots that totally delivers a cool experience. The point is, the food scene in Boca is endless. You can eat your way through the city for a year and still find something new to try. It's one of the biggest lifestyle perks of living here. And the shopping, same deal. You've got Town Center Mall for the luxury and designer experience. We're talking Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Tesla showroom, you name it. Then there's Meisner Park with more boutique style shopping, outdoor cafes, and an iPic movie theater. Even the everyday stuff is upscale. You'll be like, I just need a toothpaste, and suddenly you're walking out of Whole Foods with $30 granola and a free sample of lavender hand cream. It's a vibe. Bottom line, if you like to eat well and shop in style, Boca makes it way too easy. You got kids, or maybe you're planning for the future? Either way, Boca schools are a major win. We've got some of the top-rated public schools in all of Florida, seriously. Boca has 4 public high schools, 9 middle schools, and 13 elementary schools. Parents move here just to get into certain school zones. Schools like Addison Meisner, Calusa Elementary, Boca Raton Community Middle, and Boca High consistently rank among the best in the state. Test scores, graduation rates, college prep, they all check out. And it's not just public schools, there are a ton of private and charter options too, depending on what kind of learning environment you're looking for. Whether it's religious-based education, college prep academies, or alternative curriculums, there's something here for every learning style and family setup. And if you're into early education, Boca is also packed with great preschools and Montessori-style programs. You're not just stuck with 1 or 2 options, there's real variety. Now let's talk college. Florida Atlantic University, which is FAU, is right here in town. If your teenager wants to move out but still come home to do laundry and raid your fridge every Sunday, you're in luck. FAU is growing fast too. It's not just a backup school anymore. They've got strong programs in business, engineering, pre-med, marine biology, even a law school, and a brand new stadium. The campus is beautiful and it adds a cool college town energy to the city without being overwhelming. The bottom line, if education matters to you, Boca's a safe bet. You've got quality at every level, from kindergarten all the way through college. All right. Let's talk about something that doesn't always get enough credit. Boca Raton's location is clutch. You are perfectly positioned in South Florida. Seriously, Boca is like the sweet spot on the map. Head north, and in about 25 to 30 minutes, you're in West Palm Beach, which means access to Palm Beach International Airport, the Norton Museum, luxury shopping on Worth Ave, and that classic old money Florida vibe. If you head south, and in 40-45 minutes, you're in Miami. You need a night in Brickell? Go to a Heat game, flying internationally from MIA. You could do all of it without actually living in the chaos of Miami traffic every day. That's a win if you ask me. And right in the middle of it all, Fort Lauderdale, just about 25 to 30 minutes away. That's another airport, more beaches, nightlife, Las Olas, and a ton of dining and entertainment options. You're literally surrounded by major hotspots without having to be in the middle of the madness 24/7. Not to mention, Boca itself is incredibly easy to navigate. You've got I-95 and the Florida Turnpike running parallel through the city, so getting around is quick, whether you're commuting for work or just trying to get to that new restaurant across town before before the waitlist fills up. And for those of you who like a quick escape, you're within 3 hours of places like Orlando, Naples, and the Florida Keys, which is perfect for a weekend getaway. So yeah, whether you're flying in and out, hitting up neighboring cities, or just running errands, Boca's location makes your life easier and way more connected without feeling hectic. It's that rare mix of convenience, calm, and access all wrapped into one place. All right, so we've covered the sunshine, the schools, the food, and the beaches, all the good stuff. But like I said in the beginning, no place is perfect. Even paradise comes with a few trade-offs. So let's switch gears and talk about the other side of the coin. Let's jump into the cons of living in Boca Raton, starting with a big one. Let's be real, Boca is not cheap. If you're coming from somewhere like New York or California, you might not even flinch, but if you're relocating from the Midwest or pretty much anywhere that doesn't rhyme with Naples or Palm Beach, the prices might surprise you. Home prices here are high. Even the more affordable parts of Boca come with a premium. A starter condo can easily run you $400,000, and if you're looking for something east of I-95 or near the beach, get ready to open that wallet a little bit wider. Homes over $1 million aren't just common, they're expected in a lot of areas, and rent also up there. You're looking at $2,500 to $4,000 for a nice 2-bedroom apartment, depending on the location and amenities. Want a high-rise with ocean views? That'll cost you. And it's not just housing, groceries, dining, gas, utilities, all of it runs a bit higher here. That $9 juice from the vegan spot you love? Yeah, it's now $13. Welcome to Boca. But here's the thing, you're paying for what you get. Safe neighborhoods, beautiful surroundings, top-rated schools, and a lifestyle that honestly feels like you're living in a resort most of the year. Just know going in, Boca isn't about bargain hunting. It's about quality of life at a price. If you're cool with that and it fits your budget, great. But if you're looking to stretch every dollar, you might want to explore nearby cities like Lake Worth, Boynton Beach, Pompano Beach, or Coconut Creek, where you could still get close to the Boca lifestyle without that full Boca price tag. Next up, traffic. Yep, it's a thing. Now, don't get me wrong, Boca isn't Miami level chaotic, but let's not pretend it's smooth sailing 24/7 either, especially during season, aka November through April, when the snowbirds migrate down and suddenly every street is packed. Turn lanes are backed up, and your quick trip across town now takes twice as long as it should. Glades Road? Yeah, good luck. Military Trail? That's a slow crawl most of the day. And Federal Highway? You might want to bring some snacks. You'll be there a while. It's not just the number of cars, it's the driving styles. You've got cautious retirees, distracted tourists, locals in a rush, fast-driving Northeasterners who treat every road like the Jersey Turnpike, and that one guy in a Lamborghini who thinks he owns the road. Let's just say it keeps you on your toes. Now, the good news is you've got multiple main roads, and once you learn the local shortcuts, it becomes manageable. Plus, there's easy access to I-95 and the Turnpike, which helps if you're commuting or bouncing in between cities. But yeah, expect some traffic, especially in peak season and during rush hour. Now, of course, this isn't just a Boca thing, this is a Florida-wide thing, but it's still something you need to factor in if you're thinking about living here full-time. Hurricane season runs from June through November, and while Boca doesn't get hit every year, it's always on the radar. You'll get a couple of named storms, a few close calls, and even when nothing hits directly, you're still prepping. Water, batteries, gas, sandbags, and fielding calls from out-of-town relatives who are convinced that you're in a disaster mood. The good news is Boca is well prepared. The city takes storms seriously, and most homes, especially newer ones, are built with strong hurricane codes, impact windows and doors, and reinforced roofs. Local communities are organized and people know the drill here. But still, if you're coming from a place where the wildest thing that you've dealt with is a bad thunderstorm, this might be a little bit of an adjustment. It's not panic mode, but it's definitely part of the lifestyle. So yeah, storms and hurricanes are just part of the deal when you live in paradise. Not a deal breaker for most people, but something you should definitely be ready for. All right, let's talk about it. Boca can be a little pretentious. Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of kind, genuine, down-to-earth people here, but Boca is also known for having a relatively affluent population, and with that sometimes comes a little extra attitude. You'll see it in the cars, Bentleys, G-Wagons, Teslas lined up in Whole Foods. You'll see it in the fashion, people dressed up like they're going to lunch in Paris, but they're just heading to the nail salon. And you'll definitely feel it, big city energy without the big city. We've got a big mix of locals and seasonal snowbirds, mostly from the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Boston, that kind of vibe. It's fast-paced, it's no nonsense, and it's not exactly warm and fuzzy. And look, if you're coming from the South, whether it's Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, or even Texas, just know that Southern hospitality doesn't really live here. You'll probably feel it right away. And I'll be real with you. There have been plenty of times where I've held a door open for someone and they didn't even say thank you. Not a smile, not a nod, just kept it moving like I was a doorman. Now, that's not everybody. Okay? You'll absolutely find friendly people, tight-knit communities, and neighbors that look out for each other. But the overall vibe, it leans a little more status and self-importance than, hey, how's your day going? For some, that energy is exciting. For others, it's a little off-putting. So just beware if you're more laid back or low-key. You'll want to find the pockets of Boca that match that vibe. They exist, but you might have to navigate through a little bit of ego first. All right, so those were some of the biggest pros and cons of living in Boca Raton, but now let's get into the gray area, the stuff that's not necessarily good or bad. It just depends on what matters to you. These are some of the things that people absolutely love about Boca, while others see them as major turnoffs. It really comes down to your lifestyle, your preferences, and what you're looking for in a place to live. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, let's talk about the country club lifestyle because it's a big part of the scene here in Boca. A good portion of the communities in Central Boca are part of this setup. We're talking golf courses, tennis courts, social clubs, full-on resort-style living. Sounds great, right? And for a lot of people it is, but here's the catch. A lot of these communities come with mandatory memberships, which can be a shock if you didn't see the fine print. We get this all the time. People send us listings and they're so excited, and then we have to break the news that, yes, you could buy the house, but you also have to join the club, and that membership, it's not cheap. Now, for some buyers, that's a deal breaker, but for others, that's exactly what they're looking for. They want the golf, the dining, the events, the camaraderie. It's not just a home, it's a lifestyle. So again, it just depends on how you look at it. And speaking of structure and lifestyle standards, let's talk about Boca's strict city rules, because if you think the country club communities are detail-oriented, wait until you meet city code enforcement. Boca keeps it clean, polished, and upscale, and a big reason for that is the strict city rules. Now, the city has high standards for appearance and order, which is great until you get a letter because your trash can was visible for an extra hour or your driveway had one weed in the corner. Signage is tightly regulated, especially for businesses. You're not going to see neon flashing signs or anything out of place, which helps keep everything looking uniform and upscale. But if you're a small business owner trying to advertise, yeah, it's not always easy. There are rules for landscaping, for how early you can set out your garbage, and even for the type of mailbox that you can install in some areas. And don't even think about painting your house a funky color without checking first. For some people, this kind of structure is a plus. It helps keep property values high and the neighborhoods looking sharp. But for others, it can feel a little bit overbearing. Like, do I own this house or am I renting it from the city? So again, just depends on how much freedom you want versus how much polish you like. No Airbnb. Short-term rentals, basically a no-go in Boca. The city has strict regulations that make it nearly impossible to run a proper Airbnb here. So if you were planning to house hack or use your second home for passive income, you'll want to look elsewhere. Even platforms like VRBO face the same restrictions. Boca's made it clear they want to keep the neighborhoods residential and quiet, not filled with weekend turnover traffic and party guests. On the flip side, if you live here full-time and like peace and quiet, no Airbnb means no party houses popping up next door. So again, it just depends on how you look at it. All right, let's talk about homeowners associations because in Boca, they're everywhere. Gated community, HOA. Townhome, HOA. Condo, definitely HOA. Even some non-gated communities have them. Now, listen, HOAs can be great. They help maintain property values, keep everything looking sharp. They handle landscaping, security, amenities, and keep that one neighbor from turning their front yard into a jungle gym or parking a boat on the lawn. But not all HOAs are created equal. Some are chill, organized, and actually helpful. Others, let's just say they act like a second government. We've had clients get notices for having the wrong color mulch or leaving a garbage can out for 30 minutes too long. Some HOAs want approval just to plant a bush. It can get a little extra. And then there's the monthly or quarterly fees, which can range anywhere from a couple of $100 to over $1,000, really depending on the community and what's included. So it's important to know what you're paying for and what kind of rules you're signing up for. For some people, the structure and the amenities are totally worth it, and for others, it feels like paying a premium just to be micromanaged. So yeah, HOAs in Boca could be a dream or a headache. It really just depends on the community and your tolerance for power tripping board members. members. Now let's talk about the weather, because depending on who you ask, it's either a dream come true or a sweaty nightmare. For most of the year, it's sunny, warm, and ridiculously beautiful. We're talking 75 to 85 degrees, palm trees swaying, ocean breeze, like you're living in a screensaver. If you love the beach, outdoor dining, or just not having to shovel snow ever again, it's hard to beat. But here's the other side of it. Summer in Boca, it's no joke. From June through September, the humidity cranks up to walking through soup levels. You'll break a sweat just walking to your car, and if you're wearing jeans in July, you're a warrior, and I respect you. The heat and humidity are real, like air conditioning is a lifestyle kind of real. Outdoor plans often shift to early morning or late evening unless you want to feel like you're slow roasting under a heat lamp. So the weather here, it's paradise most of the year, but during the summer, you're gonna sweat. Let's talk about the New Yorker effect, because if you're moving to Boca, you're going to notice it. Boca is basically the 6th borough. The number of people here from New York, New Jersey, and even Long Island is wild. And I say that with love because many of them are awesome, but the influence, it's really strong. You'll hear the accents, you'll see the Yankees gear in every coffee shop, and you'll quickly realize that Boca isn't just in South Florida, it's got serious Northeast energy. Now, for a lot of people coming from that part of the country, this feels like home. The fast pace, people say what's on their mind. There's no sugarcoating, which some folks actually prefer. They appreciate the honesty, the hustle, the confidence. But if you're from a more laid-back place, say the South or the Midwest, it can feel a little intense. Conversations are louder, driving is faster, and patience, let's just say it's not the most common personality trait here. People don't really do small talk here, they get to the point. There's also a reputation, fair or not, that some of the Northeastern crowd can come off a bit rude, blunt, or entitled. Now again, not everyone's like that. There are plenty of kind, community-minded folks who've moved down and absolutely love Boca, but the New Yorker presence is strong, and it shapes a lot of the culture, the restaurants, the pace, the personalities. So if you're from the Northeast, you'll feel right at home. And if you're not, you'll either adapt or find yourself needing an extra cup of patience with your morning coffee. And now we've saved the best for last, or maybe the most dangerous for last, depending on how much you enjoy Thanksgiving dinner debates. Let's talk about politics. Don't worry, I'm not here to take sides or start a comment section war, but this is one of those things that absolutely shapes the vibe of a city, and Boca Raton is no exception. So here's the deal. Boca Raton is a bit of a political cocktail. You've got a mix of longtime Floridians, wealthy retirees, Northeastern transplants, business owners, and young professionals, and they don't all see eye to eye. Some areas lean conservative, others lean liberal, and some are just trying to enjoy brunch without getting pulled into a debate about school boards or property taxes. There's not one size fits all political vibe here, which is a good thing and a chaotic thing, depending on who you ask. To give you a little context, in the 2024 presidential election, Palm Beach County, which includes Boca, was split right down the middle, literally 49% to 49%. But if you look back a little, that's a big shift. In 2020, Democrats led the county by 13%, and in 2016, they led by 15%. So yeah, it's no longer a heavily left-leaning area. These days, it's about as purple as it gets, which honestly isn't a bad thing. It means you've got a mix of viewpoints and people who hopefully balance each other out. But again, it all depends on how you look at it. For some, it's refreshing, and for others, it's exhausting. Just know going in, people here are passionate and they're not shy about sharing their opinions, whether it's on a bumper sticker, a Facebook post, or over cocktails at happy hour. So maybe avoid politics at dinner parties and definitely on the pickleball court. So there you have it, the pros, the cons, and all the in-between stuff when it comes to living in Boca Raton. Hopefully this gave you a better feel for what it's really like down here, not just the highlights, but the stuff that actually impacts your day-to-day life. And hey, if you're thinking about making a move, whether it's next month or next year, my team and I are here to help. We don't just sell homes, we help you figure out where you fit best in this crazy but beautiful South Florida lifestyle. So if you're ready to talk real estate or just need some honest advice, go ahead and reach out, call, text, email, or DM us anytime. And don't forget, grab that free relocation guide in the description below. It's packed with helpful info, whether you're moving in Boca, Delray, or anywhere in South Florida. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.